Hey everybody, this is going to be hopefully not a very long video. Excuse the crazy hair, it's windy today. Okay, these are going to be 3 chicken related things, actually 2 egg related, 1 sort of, a little bit of a wrist slap for some people. First of all, I want to talk about peeling boiled eggs, even fresh eggs. No, you don't have to put anything in the water. This is the easiest way to do it. It makes it where you are positive they're not overcooked. They don't have that gray thing around the yolk. Plus, they're easy to peel, even if they're fresh. 9 times out of 10, you can still peel them when they're fresh. And the second thing is how to preserve one way, that's not the only way, one way to preserve fresh eggs. No muss, no fuss, pretty easy. Well, I think the UPS is coming. Hang on just a minute. Well, he's not coming to my house, not yet. Be next. Okay. The second thing is preserving eggs. Here's a really easy way to preserve fresh eggs. They will be optimally fresh, optimally, did I say that right? I don't even know. Fresh for 4 to 5 months, and they're good up to a year this way. First thing, boiling eggs. First thing is, you don't boil them. You steam them. Here you go. Take a pot that you can, however many eggs that you can get in one layer without stacking them on top of each other. Get a pot big enough for that. If you do a dozen eggs, get a pot where the surface is big enough to do a dozen eggs without stacking them up. Don't put the eggs in it yet. Put a 1/2 inch of water. Start boiling the water. Get it boiling. Then put your eggs in. Don't stack them, just put them in one layer of eggs. Stick a top on it. Put the timer on for 12 minutes. Now this is not bantam eggs. This is regular, medium, large, extra large eggs. Put the timer on for 12 minutes. When 12 minutes is up, take them off the heat, put them in ice water, or run cool water, pour the hot water off, cool them down immediately, okay? If you want to put a bunch of ice on it, whatever, get them cooled off immediately. That way they should all peel just fine. You've steamed them, you haven't boiled them. That should work just about every time. I've tested that out. Actually, I just did that this morning because I have so many eggs. I don't know what to do with it. My husband says, maybe you should boil a bunch so that we can have some egg salad. And I said, okay, I'll do that. But I steamed them and I did it that way. And have peeled most of them, and every one of them was pretty fresh. Every one of them peeled just fine. Just have to remember when you go to peel them, take it on a hard surface and roll it under your hand so you crackle the shell. And then when you start peeling, make sure that you got the membrane. You got under the membrane. You can see the membrane. It's kind of this very thin tissue paper like thing. When you get under the membrane, usually that'll peel every time. Now, if you have really fresh eggs and you boil them, a lot of times that still won't help. But this seems to be a really great way to do it. Okay, so that is how to peel boiled / steamed fresh eggs. Should work almost every time. Okay, second, preserving. Easy way to preserve eggs if you've got way too many eggs, like we do at the moment. Even though we eat probably 6 eggs every single day, just the 2 of us, we still have too many because we're getting, 9, 10, 11 eggs, sometimes a dozen every single day. Because Hector's girls are laying, a couple of the Brahmas are laying, and all the Easter eggers, and even a couple of the Bantam Cochins are laying. Not Cricket because she's still brooding. Okay, so this is what we do. You take one of those silicone muffin pans, the kind that you don't have to grease, that you can just flip the muffins out because they're flexible. You know what I'm talking about? Silicone muffin pans. They're more expensive than regular muffin pans, muffin tins. Take one of those. Crack your fresh egg, 1 in every cup. Get a nice level place, put it in the freezer. Freeze it solid. Okay, so at least 2 hours and maybe longer. You can leave it overnight. You can leave it longer, but leave it in there long enough to freeze those eggs solid. You don't have to scramble them or anything. Just crack an egg, each one. Then when you just flip them out, take those eggs and put them in a Ziploc freezer bag, and put a label on it. I mean, put however many you want in each bag. You might have quart bags or smaller, whatever. Label those things with the date that you put them in there. They're good for 4 to 5 months. Optimal freshness, you can keep them up to a year. So that is how you can preserve, one way to preserve your fresh eggs, your excess fresh eggs. I guess it's going to come into my house. It's supposed to go into my house today. Okay, so that is how you can easily peel even fresh boiled/steamed eggs. That is how you can easily preserve your excess eggs. That's one way. Now there's other ways, of course. I don't have a freeze dryer, so I can't do that. Freeze dryers, real good freeze dryers, are fairly expensive, and I don't have one of those. There are other ways to do it. People put them in ice cube trays, whatever, but you can do it. Which you can scramble them up if you want to, put a pinch of salt, whatever, put them in ice cube trays, freeze them, and do the same thing. But the muffin tins, the silicone muffin tin, called a tin, it's not a tin if it's silicone, but you know what I mean. Those things, that's probably the easiest way to do it with the least mess. Okay, just make sure you date the bags that you put the eggs in. Now, the texture will be different when they come out. After they've been frozen, the texture is going to be a little different, and it's probably not going to be the best for over easy. It'll probably be best for scrambled omelets, that kind of thing, because the texture is not going to be exactly the same after being frozen. Oh my gosh, I'm going to blow away. I'm going to blow away. Oh my goodness. Okay. Now, the wrist slapping part is have to do with chickens. I've seen people go, oh my gosh, my chicken's eyes are swollen, or they've got goopy eyes. Oh my gosh, is it avian influenza? Probably not. There are so many things that you can bring home to your flock if you buy chickens from flea markets. If you add chickens in without quarantining for 6 weeks, even if you do quarantine for 6 weeks, things can be dormant, and then when a bird is stressed, they go in with your flock. Then you all of a sudden, if you've put a typhoid Mary in your flock, all of a sudden your flock can be sick. Okay, so there are many contagious respiratory diseases that are not avian influenza. And if you haven't used good biosecurity, if you've gotten your birds from shady sources, you likely have brought something into your flock. If you've walked through feed stores and you've walked in the same shoes in that store, and you walked into your chicken coop afterwards, and you walked in the shoes of somebody else who walked in their chicken coop and their chickens were sick, you could pass it on to your chickens. People don't think about that. I never wear the same any shoes to town. My street shoes are not the same as my chicken shoes, ever. So please don't go to the worst case scenario if you have an ill bird, okay? Now, if you've got one with a respiratory disease, you have a problem. Yes, you do. Is it avian influenza? Probably not, because there's so many other things it could be. Think about what you've done. Have you purchased a bird from somebody and thrown it in with your flock? What has happened in your flock? Do you have somebody? Have you got a neighbor with chickens who are invading your yard constantly? That could probably be where they got it. So please don't go to the, oh my God, it's avian influenza, the sky is falling, oh my gosh. Please don't do that. I am trying so bad to keep down the panic over this, because they are using this thing to say, see, backyard flock raising is dangerous. It's not good for the public health. It's a public health crisis. You know how that goes. You know what they do with that. So please don't jump to the worst possible conclusions. If you have a bird that's showing illness, any kind of respiratory illness, the first thing you do is remove that bird from the airspace of the other birds. Get it out of the flock immediately. And I don't mean put it in a cage in the same building. I mean remove it. And if you don't want to figure out what's wrong with it, let's just make it a permanent situation where it doesn't go back into your flock. And you know what I'm saying. So, those are the 3 things I have for you today. I don't want to make this a long video. I'm not making a lot of videos today. I'm not even watching a lot of other people's videos that I normally would watch, other channels I'm subscribed to. I'm trying to kind of keep all the insanity at arm's length for a little while. My garden is starting to grow. I've got hanging baskets that are starting to grow nasturtiums and things of that sort. And when I have some plants big enough to show you anything, I'll do it. But until then, the only chicken news I have is my 14-year-old hen Snow is showing signs that she's going to be leaving us soon. I thought she was a couple of months ago. She was a little bit not under the weather, but she was feeling a little bit off, and I put her in a different pen and she could see out the door, and her mood elevated. I think she's a little depressed, but now I think she's actually just on her way out. But you know, she's of a very good age. Chickens could live to be 20 years old, but they rarely ever do. The oldest one I've ever personally known of was 17 years old. But I've got 2 14-year-olds at the moment. So anyway, that's all for today. I want to keep this short and use those tips and let me know if they work for you. But remember, steaming the eggs is better than actually boiling the eggs. And if you're getting the ones with the gray around the yolks, you are overcooking your eggs. But I did that this morning. I did use that method this morning. It turned out beautifully. Every one of them was cooked perfectly, and they peeled perfectly too. So, and you know my eggs are fresh. So they're not like 6 weeks old like in the grocery store. Catch y'all later. Have a great day. Bye.